As South Africa reflects during the Freedom Month, the questions around religious freedom and state authority are taking center stage. The CRL's Commission Section 22 process has sparked the intense debate, with some calling for accountability and others warning against the overreach. Today, we're joined by Professor Musa Xulu, who shares his perspective on why he believes church regulations by the state will never happen. To African Echo Podcast.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. We are meeting at the time, Prof, where there are so many issues that are pertaining to the CRL issue. The first and foremost one is the issue that has caused havoc, the issue of the Section 22. If you may just give us the perception, what does the CRL Section 22 mean?
Well, let me start by saying until January 15 this year, I was chairperson of the Section 22 committee, and that becomes very important because I know from inside, and I was the first chairperson. I conducted research there from the 15th of April 2025, and so I know how it was founded and what the rationale was.
Yeah.
Where I differed was when they departed from the Constitution and started acting like rogues, disregarding the Constitution and what it says about the religious freedom. The Section 22 Committee was formed based on Section 22 of the CRL Act. Basically, that Section 22 of the Act allows the Commission to form a committee of its own members, or a combination of its own members and people from outside, or people from outside completely, which would make the Section 22 to be independent. When it was formed, it was really to look at how to cooperate and work collaboratively with churches in South Africa.
Yes.
In looking at empowering churches through education and knowledge, and looking at the issues of what used to be called or seen as the abuses sometimes that happen in some very, very few churches around the country, isolated incidents of that, and transgressions which could be spiritual and so. So that was the case until the commission was actually inaugurated. The committee was inaugurated on the 1st of October last year. Then things changed. They started talking about things that fall far away from the CRL mission in the Constitution, which is to protect and promote freedom of religion and the rights of religious communities. It's religious. CRL is a protection of the rights of the cultural, religious, and domestic communities. They began to stray away from that kind of objective and want to regulate churches through legislation.
Yes.
Fortunately, yesterday, the Speaker of Parliament dismissed all of that, and I have been saying that it's just not possible to do that, to have a law passed in Parliament to regulate churches. So they've been straying and all the time showing how much they don't understand how Christianity works and church history, and that the church has been regulating itself since it was formed in 2000 years ago. So the reason that there is so much anger among Christians against the CRL, and especially its commission, especially its chairperson, is that besides irritating, they're trying to get into territories which they don't understand and they don't have powers to do, like passing a legislation to regulate how to form a church, how to preach, how to interpret the Bible and all those things that I don't think that they understand at all.
Yeah. Right. And you're touching a very, very important point, Prof. You're mentioning the crux of the matter because churches, actually the entire religious sector seems to be in a bit of attention, more of attention rather with the CRL. And concerning these, how do you interpret this tension? Because one of the speakers that I had on as a guest, or Professor Kumala said, the top-down approach is not really working for the sector. Is this really the crux of a matter where it is, or is it really about the regulation or the upcoming regulation that really is causing this tension?
Well, the regulation will not happen. It simply cannot happen. It's impossible to happen. It's also not just a top-down approach. The CRL is not a Christian organization. The church has been regulating itself internally for the past 2,000 years. And you can look at the book of Acts, chapter 2. That's where the whole issue of regulation, maybe even the book of Matthew, St. Matthew's, chapter 28, verses 19 to 20, where Christ is sending his disciples around the world to baptize people and to educate. That did not come from a government. It came from Christ himself. And the entirety of church history between then and now is to interpret what Christ told his disciples. The disciples today are us, pastors, and everyone else who is subscribing to the teachings of Christ Jesus. The CRL is not a Christian organization. It has got nothing to do with Christianity. It has to do with protection and promotion of the rights of religious communities. So, and what does it mean? It means simply that it should be in the forefront of promoting religious freedom. It should be in the forefront of defending against anybody who says the church must be regulated by the state. And so it's the wrongness of the whole thing is one, it's irritating to many people who understand church history and how Christianity works. But secondly, it falls way, way, way away from the mandate of the CRL. And questions start asking, why are they doing and saying all of these things? It's not even a top-down approach. It's shooting from the hip on a subject which I doubt if they understand at all. And because they have resources, maybe then they go to the media and say all sorts of things. And there's been all these statements released by Mrs. Tawokalu Mkwanas against the Christian church. And the videos and so on have been moving around, and that is what has made people to be, especially the church, Christian church or Christian churches, people very angry against her and the CRL Commission because, as you rightly say, they are causing havoc unnecessarily. So, because they are in those positions for 5 years. The church has been around for 2,000 years.
Absolutely. And the concerns also on Section 22 from the church itself, it says that the Section 22 process may not fully represent all religious communities. From your perspective, how inclusive is the representative or the inclusivity into the representative in this particular process?
Not inclusive. There is 7 Shambe factions, and there is 2 ZCC factions, and there is a faction of what is called Teasa, the evangelicals, and that's about all. South African Council of Churches is not there. The majority of charismatic churches, which is the majority of churches in South Africa currently, and Pentecostals are not represented, and actually they are hated. So you have a situation where organizations, church organizations like the Shembe, who are not 100% Christians, are sitting there to try and regulate how Christians should run their affairs. It's tragedy. Or the ZCC, it's tragedy. And they hardly understand how the church has run its affairs through the apostles and through the various creeds, through the various interpretations of scriptures. The schism of 1054 AD, the Reformation of year 1517 AD, and the birth of denominationalism. They don't understand those things. And and yet they sit there and drink tea and want to basically tell Christians, Christian leaders, bishops, archbishops, and everyone, and congregants and the laity, how to run church affairs. It's incomprehensible, and this is one of the reasons I decided to leave that thing, because I thought it's just what they're trying to do was beyond any understanding of theology, of church doctrines, of ecclesiology, and all other foundations that they should have studied first before they can come to wanting to regulate the church. But regulation of the church by the CRL will never happen. I can tell you now.
Right. Thanks, Prof, for that. There's also a huge conversation, or rather, let me just say this. When we had a conversation with Umama Uthobo Mkhwanazi a few weeks back, she spoke very fondly and very intensely about accountability and ethics. So when you look back at your time when you were still at the commission, what are some of the challenges that were in balancing the constitutional rights with accountability itself?
Members of the church account to the church or denomination that where they belong. Accountability has been there since the year 2000, for the past 2,000 years. If, for example, you have done something wrong at church, it is members of the church or the church council and so on that looks at accountability. This whole thing of of being obsessed with accountability is because she does not understand how the church functions. Churches have complete accountability systems internally within the churches. Otherwise, they would not have been able to sustain themselves for over 2,000 years. So it's misplaced. She wants the church to account to the CRL. The CRL is not a church organization, and she is not sent by the Constitution or the legislation to ask for accountability from church members. She is sent by the Constitution to promote and protect the rights of religious communities, the rights. And when I say religious, I'm meaning Christians, I'm meaning Muslims, I'm meaning all other forms of religious communities that you can find. Why single out the church? Currently, some organizations have taken her to court that were not Christians, and to say, why is she discriminating against Christians? And so there is a court case coming up based on that. For example, the Muslim lawyers of South Africa. Muslim Lawyers Association of South Africa. It's a subject she does not understand. And she's mixing things up, things that don't really mix up. Why must Christians account to a non-Christian body like the CRL? It can't happen. It just can't happen. You don't do those kinds of things if you are protecting and promoting the rights of Christians in the country.
Right. And what could be a workable, maybe a fair workable model for accountability for religious institutions?
Accountability happens within churches. She's
Mm,
got nothing to do with it. What can happen is that she's expected every 2 years. They are expected every 2 years
okay.
or so to have a national conference where they look at the issue in collaboration with the religious
Mm,
sector. Then maybe they should call a conference and say, and ask the Christians, what are your problems? How would you like us to support,
mm,
to protect and promote your rights? There's no way in which you talk about accountability in a situation where
mm,
already church leaders, I'm a pastor, I'm accountable to the church leaders and elders. So why
mm,
must I then not be accountable to a non-Christian body? Um, it's
mm,
absurd. It's one of those thoughts that people express in public without the knowledge and
mm.
understanding how the Christian sector works. It's a
Right.
huge improvement that should be stopped.
Absolutely, absolutely. It sounds very, very tragic when you put it like this, Prof. As we are concluding, Prof, the message that you'd like to leave for South Africans, as these conversations continue to unfold, because this is a national dialogue and this is a conversation that touches everyone within the religious sector.
Well, what needs to happen is that South African churches should strengthen their own internal mechanisms. A church organization must have a constitution,
Mm,
must have a bank account, must have a council, must take minutes. For example, at our church, every Sunday we read, um, uh, you know, how much was contributed the past Sunday
mm,
and how much was spent and all of those things. So kind of transparency to the church members, not to people outside of church structures, because people
mm.
outside of church structures are not Christians.
Right.
And we don't know what spirits they follow. And those spirits may be pushing them to destabilize the church,
Mm,
eventually wanting to, because it always starts like this, some crazy person coming up with a crazy idea, and then eventually persecution, and
mm,
then arrest of pastors, and then all sorts of laws get made. It's unfortunate that the public thinks that the ANC is behind all of this. I don't think that the ANC is behind all of this. I think Mrs. Tokalova Mkwanazi could be reporting elsewhere. Nobody knows where, but I don't think that the ANC is behind this. And the speaker has um, made a media statement yesterday in which he clarified that
mm.
this government is not going to do unconstitutional things to please the CRL.
Mm, mm. No, that's very clear. Well, thank you so much, Prof, for actually engaging with us and also just informing us and giving us this insightful conversation. It's going to assist the church, the community at large, but also it forms part of the history in the religious sector. Actually, I do have a question that have been just in my mind lately, Prof, because when you're looking at how the world is working, especially, and how the religious sector stood up and took to the streets, but not only just they went to the parliament and they wanted to be heard. Do you think that there might be a possibility of seeing a vibrant new upcoming political party that comes from the Christian sector from out of this?
Well, no, yeah, look, Christian political parties have not been successful in South Africa.
Mm,
You must look at the ACDP. They've been around since 1994.
mm,
I don't know how many members, but not more than five they have in parliament. It's been very, very tragic when you look at them trying to mix Christianity with politics. It doesn't work. But there
mm,
were rumors, and there'll always be rumors in street corners that some people are trying to form a church, a political party
Okay.
outside of whose membership will mainly be Christians. It doesn't work. I know during elections, politicians like to visit these big churches with many members, like Chamber, which is maybe estimated currently at around 1 million, and so on. But you don't get votes from those people. They continue voting for the political parties of their own choice and
Yeah.
heart. So it's always is a waste of time, and also a short circuiting of democracy. Democracy is about individuality. You have to convince individuals.
Mm.
So when political parties go to these churches, it's a shortcut, but it's also maybe some kind of political laziness that they want big crowds.
Mm.
It doesn't work. Christians continue to exercise their individual rights, and they just vote for the political party that they want to vote. Even if you can go to an archbishop or cardinal of a big church, they still will not vote
True.
according to what the cardinal is saying. They vote again according to what the heart is
Yeah.
saying. So I'm just saying that maybe that thing of visiting churches every time there's elections is actually not so democratic, but also will never succeed.
I hear you, Prof. I hear you. Well, thank you so much, Kapashe, for your time. We thank you so much, with this special time to converse with us. Blessings to you, sir.
Marcus, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
siyabonga kakhulu.